In the small village of Otu, the night was dark. In one corner of the village, light flickered in the general hospital. The cries of a woman in labor filled the air. Morris sat on a wooden bench outside the labor room. His hands clenched together. His feet wouldn't stay still. He tapped on the floor again and again, trying to keep himself calm. He and Alice were not just ordinary villagers. They were successful traders. Everyone in Otu knew the Bensons. Morris sold palm oil in large quantities, while Alice had the largest yam stall in the market. Life had been good to them. They had a big compound, many workers, and enough money to send their children to the best schools. And now, their first child was on the way. A loud cry suddenly filled the air. Morris jumped to his feet. His heart swelled with joy. "That's my child! That's my child!" He whispered. He turned to one of the nurses. Madam, nurse, please, how is my wife? How is the baby?" The nurse didn't answer immediately. She gave him a quick glance before rushing back inside. Something was wrong. Morris frowned. He tried to peep through the half-open door, but all he could see were the backs of the nurses. Inside the labor room, Alice lay on the bed, weak but smiling. She had just given birth to a baby girl. The midwife cleaned the baby's tiny body, but her hands froze when she unwrapped the cloth completely. The room fell silent. The other nurses who had been chatting in low voices stopped. One of them covered her mouth. The midwife turned to Alice, forcing a smile. She's beautiful. Alice stretched out her hands. "Please, let me. Can I see my baby?" But the midwife hesitated before placing the baby in her arms. Alice's smile faded. She looked down at the tiny body wrapped in white cloth. She traced her finger over the soft face, a small round nose, the little fingers on her right hand, and then she saw it. Her baby had only one arm. Alice's breath caught in her throat. "Jesus Christ," she whispered. The nurses exchanged nervous glances. They had never seen such a thing before. In Otu, a child born with any kind of deformity was an abomination. Alice's hand shook. Where is my daughter's other arm?" The midwife swallowed hard. Madam, she was born that way." Alice's head spun. She turned to the nurses. "No, check the bed. Maybe it fell off during labor. Just maybe." One of the nurses shook her head. "Madam, it's not like that. The baby came out like this." Alice's chest tightened. She stared at the baby, her mind racing. Why her child? Why her only daughter?" The doctor, an elderly man with a serious face, touched Alice's shoulder. "Madam, you need to rest. You've been through a lot. We will talk later. Okay, please, just try and rest." Alice closed her eyes as silent tears rolled down her cheeks. Morris' hands were sweaty as he sat in the doctor's office. His mind was restless. Why did the doctor call him? Why hadn't he seen his wife and child yet? The doctor walked in and sat down across from him. He cleared his throat. "Congratulations, Morris. You have a daughter." "Ah, thank God. And so when can I see them?" "There is something I need to tell you first." Morris leaned forward. Doctor, what is it? This one that your voice is very low. Is everything okay?" The doctor hesitated. Your daughter was born with only one arm." Silence. Morris blinked. No. What did you just say? She has only one arm? "Doctor, I know I'm not a medical person. Please let me understand. Are you saying the arm fell off during labor? Look for it. Maybe it's on the floor, then you can attach it." The doctor shook his head. "She was born that way, Mr. Morris." The room suddenly felt smaller. Hot. Morris' throat went dry. He wiped his face with his palm. "No, that's not possible. No one in my family or Alice's family has this problem." The doctor sighed. These things happen sometimes. And sir, it's not anyone's fault. Oh, no, doctor, you don't understand. Are you not in this village? You know, oh, they will say my child is cursed. Is this a curse? Is this a curse? What is happening? The doctor didn't respond. He had been a doctor for many years. He knew how villagers like Morris thought. Morris stood up, his hand on his head. He paced around the office, his heart pounded. What would people say? What would the elders say? What would the whole village say? He thought about the last time a child was born with 6 fingers in Otu. The parents had been called cursed. They were forced to leave the village in shame. And now it was happening to him. Morris grabbed the edge of the table. Doctor, tell me the truth. Can this be fixed? Can we take her to another hospital in the city? The doctor sighed. Morris, your daughter is healthy. You and your wife should love her. Morris raised a hand. That is not what I asked. Can she be normal? The doctor shook his head. Morris slowly sank back into his chair. He buried his face in his hands. At that moment, the door opened and a nurse stepped in. Doctor, the patient is asking for her husband. Morris took a deep breath. He stood up and straightened his shirt. His face was blank. He nodded and followed the nurse out. The night was cold, but the nurses didn't seem to care. They walked home in pairs, their white uniforms glowing under the dim moonlight. Did you see the baby? One of them whispered. My sister, I saw her. One arm, only. Let me know, Sha. One. The third nurse shook her head. Abomination. If I give birth to any child like that, I will throw that child away. They spoke in hushed voices, but the words traveled. A woman sitting outside her hut overheard them. She rushed inside and shook her husband awake. My husband, wake up. Morris's wife has given birth. And so what did she give birth to? Have you not heard? The baby has only one arm. The man sat up. What did you say? One arm. I just heard the nurses saying it when they were going. She was born like that. By morning, the whole village had heard. When Morris and Alice brought baby Adina home, the compound was quiet. In Otu, a new baby usually meant celebrations. Neighbors would bring yams, palm oil, and even chickens. Women would sing, dance, and bless the child. But this time, nobody came. Alice sat in the sitting room, rocking Adina gently. She kept looking at the door, waiting for a knock, but no one came. Morris, nobody is coming. What is happening? Nobody. Hey, God. I'm sure everybody has already heard that I gave birth to a baby with one arm. God, is God punishing me? Are we cursed? No, it's okay. We are not cursed. We're not cursed, okay? Just calm down. Maybe, it's still early. They will come later, okay? Just calm down. Alice's grip on Adina tightened. But she's just a child. She has done nothing wrong. Morris shook his head. This village don't see it that way. Let's just calm down and take care of our baby, okay? Alice looked down at Adina's tiny face, soft, beautiful, but the whole world had already judged her. 2 weeks later, Alice went to the market. She tied Adina to her back and walked to her usual store to buy gari. When she greeted the seller, the woman looked away. I don't have gari today. Please, go to the other store. Alice frowned. But I see bags of gari behind you, ma. The woman picked up her basket and walked off. Alice sighed and moved to the pepper seller. Good afternoon, Mama Nkechi. Mama Nkechi barely looked at her. Alice, I beg you in God's name, I don't want trouble. Trouble? Please go. Go. I don't have pepper. You see that one that is there? Somebody has already paid for it. Just move away. Alice's throat tightened. She turned and saw 2 women whispering. One of them glanced at her and shook her head. Ancestral curse. That is how people will be coming to this market with curses all over them. Please, nobody should touch any of my things. I'm not selling for anybody. Alice held Adina closer and walked away. Morris tried to act normal. He still went to his farm. He still attended village meetings. But people treated him differently. At the next meeting, the elders sat in a circle under a big udara tree. A man stood up and spoke about a new farming project. My fellow elders, we need more hands on the cocoa farms. he said. Maurice raised his hand. I can do... Please sit down. Maurice froze. He turned to see Mr. Benson, one of the elders, glaring at him. You want to say what? You can do what? Hey, God. Please, if you were a real man, would you have given birth to a baby girl with one arm? A few men chuckled. Maurice's face burned with shame. Nobody defended him. Nobody spoke for him. Maurice stood up and walked away. A year passed. Alice worked hard, selling more yams in the market. She barely spoke to anyone. She spent most of her time at home with Adina. One evening, she came back from the market and found a piece of paper on the table. Her hand shook as she opened it. Alice, I cannot do this anymore. The shame is too much. The whispers, the stares. I cannot bear it. Take care of Adina. I hope one day you will forgive me, Maurice. Alice sank to the floor. She looked around the empty room. The man she had built a life with was gone. She picked up her daughter, held her close and whispered, Don't worry. Everything is going to be fine. Don't worry. We are going to get through this together. Alice worked harder. She bought books and tried to teach Adina at home as she grew older. She knew it wasn't enough, but she couldn't send her daughter to school, not yet. She didn't want her to hear the cruel words people whispered. She wanted to protect her, even if it meant carrying all the pain alone. Years passed. Adina was 15, but she couldn't do anything for herself. If she needed water, her mother got it. If she wanted food, her mother cooked it. If she dropped something, her mother picked it up. She sat in her room all day, waiting for her mother to bring whatever she needed. One afternoon, Alice's friend Lisa came to visit. She sat down, placed a loaf of bread on the table and looked at Adina. My dear, please help me boil an egg. Lisa said, I want to eat it with my bread. I'm so hungry. And I can't wait for your mommy to come back. Okay, just boil one egg for me. Thank you. Adina's heart began to beat fast. She had never boiled an egg before. She walked into the kitchen, placed a pot of water on the fire and dropped an egg inside. Every few minutes, she checked the egg. She touched it. It was still soft. She had no idea how long it would take. So she waited. She waited until all the water dried up. By the time she remembered the egg, it was burning at the bottom of the pot. Lisa walked into the kitchen and shook her head. Adina, hey God, no, you don't know how to boil an egg. Adina lowered her head. Lisa sighed. Don't worry, let your mother come back. I will wait for her. That evening, Alice returned from the market looking tired. Lisa sat her down. Alice, how can your daughter not know how to boil an egg? I told her to boil me one egg so I can eat my bread. I have been starving. Hey God. Alice frowned. She doesn't need to suffer. I do everything for her. Lisa shook her head. And you think you are helping her? Lisa, you don't understand. Adina has only one arm. I don't want her to struggle. Okay, Alice, I understand. But can I ask you this question? If something happens to you today, who will take care of her? Alice opened her mouth but said nothing. Lisa continued. I won't lie to you, Alice. If you die today, I won't take in a lazy teenager who can't do anything for herself. And I'm sure others won't either. You're looking at me. Let me tell you the truth. Because sometimes the truth is bitter. But it's a pill you have to swallow. How can a 15-year-old not know how to boil? At least let her be in the kitchen with you to see how things are done. Alice's heart sank. Lisa touched her arm. Disability is a mindset. There are people with no hands, no leg, and they can still do great things. They are musicians. Some are artists, some are teachers. Your daughter has one hand. That is more than enough. You know, I will tell you the truth. Yes, we all have challenges. Our challenges might not look the same. But do not make this girl feel like she is disabled, that she cannot do anything for herself. Please, let her get up. You see, tomorrow I'll bring books about great people with disabilities. Let her read about them. The next morning, Alice woke up early. She went to wake Adina, but Adina was still sleeping. Alice's face tightened. Everything Lisa had said to her came coming back. Alice walked to the kitchen, fetched a bowl of ice cold water and poured it on Adina's face. Adina jumped up screaming, Mommy, Jesus, why? Jesus, the water is cold. Alice folded her arms. No more laziness in this house. But Mom, yes, it's my fault. I have spoiled you, but today it ends. For goodness sake, this is past 8 o'clock and you're still in bed. Please get up. She dragged Adina out of bed and pointed at a bag of beans on the table. Sort those beans. However you want to do it, do it. And if there are stones in it, we'll eat it together. Mommy, I can't. You can. Adina sat at the table, her face squeezed in anger. She slowly began to pick out the bad beans from the good ones. From that day, Alice made sure Adina learned everything. She taught her how to sweep with one arm. She taught her how to bathe herself properly, how to fold her clothes and clean up after using the restroom. Adina complained. She cried. She thought her mother had become a wicked person, but Alice didn't stop. One afternoon, dark clouds covered the sky. It was about to rain. Alice had left some cassava and maize outside. Adina, where are you? Go and bring the farm produce outside, please. Mommy, I cannot go. It's about to rain. You want me to get wet? Oh, you cannot get it, but you will eat the cassava and you will eat the potato. So I promise you, if you don't go outside, you will sleep outside under the rain. What? You will sleep outside, so you better go outside. Yes, now that it is raining, please get out. Go and bring them. Yes, under the rain, go and bring them. Adina went under the rain. She grabbed the cassava, held the maize under one arm, and carried them inside, soaking wet but smiling. You better smile. No, I thought you were going to frown. You will see whether you will eat this night. Now you are learning. One morning, while folding clothes, Alice looked at Adina. It's time for you to go to school. Adina's hand froze. Mommy, no, it's a bad idea. Alice raised an eyebrow. Why? Nobody will want to sit with me. It's already bad enough that I don't want anybody to start looking at me, please. If nobody wants to sit with you, sit alone. It's okay. How is that okay, Mom? Why are you sounding like this? Because you are not alone. You have trillions of God's angels with you. Mommy, that's not what I'm saying. You can see. You might not have 2 arms, but you have something better. The hand of God is upon your life. Mommy, it doesn't feel like the hand of God is upon my life. If God really loved me, why did he not create me with 2 hands? My friend, will you shut up? Are you the only person with disability? What is wrong with you? Have you not seen people whose legs have been cut off? Have you not seen people who are blind, but yet still do great things? Why are you sounding as if maybe your whole body is incapacitated and you cannot do anything for yourself? What is it? I'm sorry. Sorry for yourself. Why are you making this difficult for both of us? You're going to go to that school and you're going to believe that God is with you and you can do all things through Christ that strengthens you. Yes, this will toughen you up to know that life is not a bed of roses. Okay? The real world is real. Adina resumed school the following week. There was a new principal and he was not from their village. He didn't know about her past. He believed every child was special, so he welcomed Adina like every other student. At first, her classmate whispered about her. Some laughed behind her back, but she didn't tell her mom. Complaining was useless. She knew Alice would only give her one answer. You are not alone. One evening after school, Adina sat in the living room watching TV. Alice walked in. Adina, do you have homework? Yes, I do. But it is too hard. The math teacher gave a difficult question. Alice folded her arms. How many times have you tried solving it? Mommy, I tried. I tried. 3 times. I tried 3 times. I solved it the first time, the second time, the third time. Without a word, Alice turned off the TV and removed the antenna. Mommy, why now? I was about to watch seasons. I wanted to know what will happen in the next part. Alice sat beside her daughter. Adina, Benson. Thomas Edison failed between 1,000 and 10,000 times before he made the light bulb. That light bulb up there. Yes, the one you can see. Mom, what does that have to do with my math homework? Look at me. Until you try 20,000 times, you are not allowed to watch TV in my house. Do you understand me? Adina's mouth fell open. She tried. She tried in the morning. She tried the math in the afternoon. She tried at night. Even her classmates were complaining in school. No one was able to get the solution to the question. Days passed, a whole week. Still, she didn't find the answer. By the second week, her head hurt from trying. Then one evening, it happened. She picked up her pen, looked at the question, and saw something she had never noticed before. Her eyes widened. She wrote down the steps carefully, her heart beating fast. By the time she got to the last step, she had the answer. Mommy, I got it! I did it! Good. Now you see why I took the antenna. The next one, I'm going to remove the pole. The next day, Adina went to school early. The classroom was empty. She picked up the chalk and solved the question on the board, step by step, line by line. When she dropped the chalk and stood in front of the board, her classmate walked in and they froze. The math teacher walked in. He stared at the board. Nobody said a word. Then the teacher smiled. Well done. Adina, you solved this, right? Yes, I did. I did, sir. Good job. Adina held her head up high. She was not a pity case. She was more than a missing arm. She was Adina, the girl who never gave up. One afternoon, as the students packed their books after class, a girl named Cecilia walked up to Adina. Hi, Adina. I need to tell you something. What is it? You really inspired me. Me? Inspired you? Yes. I used to look down on people with disabilities. I thought they were a burden, but after seeing you, I know I was wrong. You see, I have a younger sister named Beatrice. She was born with a bad leg. I've always been ashamed to play with her. I thought she brought bad luck to our family. When she was born, nobody came to visit us. And from that time, I just didn't want to have anything to do with her. Adina blinked in shock. Beatrice is your sister. But why would you think she brought bad luck? Well, that's what people say. They say children like her don't deserve love. Cecilia, that's not true. I know that now. Beatrice didn't ask to be born that way. It's not her fault. I've been so unkind to her, but now you've shown me that people like Beatrice can do great things too. Adina smiled. Cecilia took a deep breath. From now on, I'll be kind to my sister. I will never look down on anyone with disability again. Adina felt warm inside. At that moment, she made a promise to herself. No matter where she found herself, she will always show up so that children like her would have hope. If you're enjoying this story, please can you do me a favor by clicking the like button? It is free so that YouTube will know that you enjoyed this video. Thank you, and let's get back to the story. One morning, the class was unusually quiet. The math teacher stood in front of the class with a serious face. I have an important announcement. The student sat up. The teacher cleared his throat. Our school will be competing in a big math competition next month. And the student representing us is... Everyone held their breath. The teacher smiled. Adina! The class gasped. Some students clapped. Others whispered. But in the staff room, some teachers were not happy. How can a girl with one arm represent the school? One teacher asked, shaking her head. It will be a disgrace. People will laugh at us. How will she be able to solve the math very fast? There is no calculator. I don't know. Is there no other person? What about the other girl that represented the school the last time? Why can't she go for the competition? The principal slammed her hand on the table. Enough, she said, her voice sharp. The teachers went silent. The principal stood up. You're supposed to help children believe in themselves. Instead, you are the ones discouraging them. The teachers shifted uncomfortably. Adina is the best student in math in her class. She deserves this chance, and whether you like it or not, she will represent the school. The room was dead silent. Then the principal added, if any of you don't like it, you are free to resign. I am not from your village and I don't care about your customs or whatever your tradition is. I believe every child has the right to also participate in whatever they need to participate in. She is good at what she does, so what is your problem? The teachers froze. Nobody said another word. That evening, Adina sat on her bed thinking about everything. She was going to represent her school. Some people believed in her, some didn't, but none of that mattered. She had made up her mind she was going to win. Adina worked hard for the maths competition. Every day after school, she sat with her maths teacher. He taught her how to solve problems quickly without a calculator. It was not easy. Some days, Adina wanted to cry. The numbers looked too big. The questions were too hard. But each time she wanted to give up, her mom would say, Adina, you are stronger than this. Keep going. Good things do not come easy. And disability begins from the mind. It is not what is happening to you outside that matters. It is what is going on inside of you. Please, get up. You can do better than this, okay? And so she kept going. The competition day finally came. The hall was huge. Many students from different schools sat in the audience. When Adina stepped on the stage, some of them gasped. Is that not the girl with one arm? Some whispered, hey, can she solve maths? Adina heard them, but she pretended not to. She took a deep breath and faced the big screen where the questions appeared. The first questions came up. Adina focused. Her teacher's voice echoed in her head. Think fast. Don't panic. Break the numbers down. She grabbed a pen and started writing. One by one, the other contestants struggled. But Adina's hand moved fast. Before anyone else, she raised her answer card. Correct! The judge answered. The hall was silent. One question after another, Adina stayed ahead. Finally, the last questions came. It was the hardest of them all. Adina's heart pounded. She closed her eyes for a second and took a deep breath. Then she started writing. Time was ticking. Her pen moved fast. The audience held their breath. Then she raised her answer card. Correct! The hall erupted in cheers. Adina had won. Her math teacher jumped up. Her mom clapped so hard that her hands turned red. For the first time, nobody saw her as a girl with one arm. They saw her as a champion. If you enjoyed this story, please click the next video showing on your screen. Please do not forget to click the like button and also subscribe to this channel. It is free. Thank you. I will see you in the next video showing on your screen right now.